how long your property is vacant for and how long it takes to find great tenants is actually two different questions. If you've already got a great tenant in your property and they've decided to move out at the end of their current lease, then in the last 28 days of their tenancy, we can actually start advertising, and we can also show through prospective tenants to your property during this time. Now, making use of this advertising window while we still have some great tenants has some advantages and some disadvantages. While you're still being paid rent from those existing tenants, we don't have the same level of access to be showing your property to the market as we would if it was vacant. Now, good agents are always going to negotiate with your tenants so that we get as many opportunities as possible to show your property to prospective tenants and give us the best chance to have a great tenant secured early, which is what we want to do. But we do need to have some additional flexibility during this time and work with the tenants, as not only do we want them to help us in this process, but we're also counting on them to have the property presented at every inspection where we're showing prospective tenants through in a very presentable manner. Remember, your tenants are going to be trying to move. They're going to be getting the property clean for these inspections where we're showing prospective tenants through. Now, while this is all happening, they're also getting ready for their final inspection, and they're also moving into a new home as well. So that's going to obviously affect how much times your property manager can show prospective tenants through. Now, if your property is already vacant, let's say you've just bought a property and now we need to find some great new tenants. The great news is that with a vacant property, we can now have the ability to show prospective tenants through your property as often as is needed. So a pro tip is, if you're purchasing a property that will be vacant at settlement, is to make sure that when you make your offer, try to allow it so that you can market your property as soon as the sales contract goes unconditional. What this means is it'll give you a head start on finding and screening new tenants while you're not having to pay the mortgage yet. Okay? So your property is vacant. How long will it take you to actually get the rent rolling in? Well, here's the thing. Most good applicants will need between 1 to 3 weeks on average from when they sign a lease before they're actually wanting to move in. In most cases, good applicants are actually looking for properties about 4 to 6 weeks before their current lease ends. And most good tenants are typically going to be pretty well organised. So they're going to allow between 1 to 2 weeks to have as a crossover, depending on their ability to get time off of work, allowing for cleaning their property that they need to actually hand back in a good, clean condition to the old landlord or property manager. So they're normally not going to want to pay more than, say, a week or two overlap where they're now paying for 2 sets of rent. Because, as I've said this in other videos, great tenants will actually be offered a property pretty quickly from other private landlords, from other property managers, and this is going to happen pretty quickly. So it is actually going to be pretty likely that a 1 to 3 weeks time frame will be quite normal before they can move in, assuming that, again, that you're working quick to secure them. Now, there are a few genuine reasons where they may want to take the lease up straight away, but this can also be a red flag. So I would be saying to allow for this as a minimum when you're getting a good level of interest in your property. So it normally takes our agency between 1 to 3 weeks to secure what I think is a good tenant, and that's if you're priced correctly and the property is presented well. The process for finding a great tenant for all agencies is actually going to be sped up or slowed down based on their marketing, their pricing, and the access to the property for prospective tenants. So our approach is that you want to attract as many potential applicants as possible, and that's through pricing your property correctly and ensuring it's presented as good as possible. And then through a positive application process where potential applicants can easily view the property in person and be able to make sure it meets their and their significant people in their life, family, friends, partners' needs, and put their application forward. Now, from there, we're able to screen your applications, provide you with our findings, and get the successful applicant, in to sign, their lease, pay their first 2 weeks' rent, and their bond. So, with all this in mind, the final thing that will really impact your ability to secure great tenants is the turnaround time to process applications. Now, if we receive, 15, 20, 30 applications over a weekend, the time it takes to review, all these applications and screen all these applications manually can actually be a pretty mammoth task without advanced referencing software. So we've been using, this type of system that we use for quite some time now, and this software really just assists us in identifying which applications to process first, ensuring great applications don't actually get snapped up before we have been given the chance to have you approve them. It helps us to flag fraudulent applications and also carry out our risk assessment. So this system also checks every application against a national default database, and we also check our applications against a tenancy bad tenant database, amongst other things. So often this means seeing the time from an application being submitted to a lease being signed down to about 2 business days on average in majority of cases. So what that means is you can secure a great application sometimes before the other agents have even finished processing their applications. So I'm Ricky from Real People Real Estate. If you've enjoyed this video, please like it, please share us, subscribe to us on YouTube, iTunes, and Google Podcasts, and don't forget to comment below about what topics you would like us to discuss next.